3, 2, 1, action!
Action. All right. Welcome, everyone. Today it's an EY series class with EX compatibility. It's for you guys, too, if you have either of those models. I'm going to do something kind of fun and goofy today. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do some improvising, so I'll get into that in a second. But first, let's play a song just for fun here, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this afterward. Here we go. This is one of my favorite artists of all time. This guy, his name is Louis Armstrong. Here we go. See if you can guess the name of the song.
Just to build a dream on.
You got it. Go a little higher here. Yeah, there we go. All right, that was correct. Somebody guessed. That was a song called A Kiss to Build a Dream On. And let me do this real quick. Hold on, I think. Robert, did you say you spotlighted me? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
Asking if you
here we go.
want to. There we go.
I am now. Perfect. Okay. So the reason I played that song, for one, I like it. But I'll have you know, I just thought to play this maybe 5 minutes ago. So that arrangement you heard, I improvised it. I didn't improvise the song because I know the song. I just happen to know it. But what I'm going to teach you today is to kind of be an explorer, okay, of your instruments here, and to build sort of an arrangement kind of on the fly. And I'm going to show you some different things, some different ways to do that here. Because what I did is, like I said, I didn't improvise the song. I know the song, but what I did is I improvised the sounds I was using in the backgrounds. So I'll talk about some important things here, okay? Mainly what we're going to talk about today is these numbers in the middle, okay? Which, can somebody tell me what these do? If you can unmute and just blurt out to me, what do these numbers here do?
Settings.
Settings. Very good. Oh, hey, Gene. I just saw you today.
Presets.
Presets. Yeah, presets, setups.
You set up your instruments.
Exactly. What they do is they set up your right-hand sounds. So as you're going through a song, you know, what's really nice is you have those buttons right there for you. So what I do is you might play a song like Kiss to Build a Dream On, and what's one thing that's really fun is to start with one sound, you know, maybe halfway through, say, okay, I want something else now. There's a whistle. Here's another one. So they change your right-hand sounds, but here's something that's really exciting. is it does more than that. Ooh, did you know that? We're going to talk about how these setups in the middle here not only change your right hand sound, but they actually help you arrange a song on the fly as well. They give you sort of background changes as well. I don't know if you know that, but let's start with something simple here. Let's do an example. I'm going to put on the country button. Who likes country music? Good, 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 good. See, that's why I like to see you guys. I can see your hands go up or your hands go down, you know. So here's some country music. Let's just put on a rhythm here. I'm not going to talk as much about the specific rhythms today as much as just going through them and making an arrangement here. So if I want to play a country song, let's say I'm going to do Your Cheatin' Heart. You guys know that one? Let's see. Let's see if I have it here. Oh boy, I do. It looks like this. You see that on the screen? That's Your Cheatin' Heart. That's just the first page, and if I scrolled down, there would be another page of music there. But what I'm going to talk about here is starting in one spot. You know, you don't have to do much. You put on a rhythm. So let's say I want to play that song. So let's start, and I'm just going to kind of decide when I want to make a change, okay? So let's see. I'll just play exactly what comes up first. There you go. It's repeating the same part again in the song. Now right there, you see, I just played the same melody of the song, Your Cheatin' Heart. He does it twice, okay, in that song. Let's look at the music real quick. This is just kind of a good example of when you want to make a change. This happens in probably 90% of songs, so this is something to look for. This first page here, let's look at this. It doesn't have the words on this one, unfortunately, but it says, you know, the melody, Your Cheatin' Heart, na 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 na. And it keeps going along, and right here, halfway through the page, you see right here where it says fill? It actually repeats the exact same part as it does up here. So what I do is just keep that same right-hand sound. I didn't change the background. I just played through the first page. And then what happens in most songs is when it repeats that same thing twice, after that, hopefully it's scrolling down for you, it generally goes into what's called a bridge, which means it's a different melody. So here, this looks totally different. It sounds like this. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. Back to this. Okay, so it plays what's called a bridge, kind of there in the middle. And when you're playing a song at home, that's really good to look for. Look for what's called the bridge there. And like I said, usually it repeats that same melody twice, something like this. You know, and all songs have a different melody, but that's just one example. And that's the perfect spot to change your right-hand sound and change the background, okay? Because most of you have that ability. You have something called either drum variation or alter style. But here's what's cool. Here's what we're going to talk about. Now let's get into it. Is the easy way to make an arrangement is not to have to think, okay, for the next part of the song, I'm going to press, you know, I'm going to go to number 8, and then I'm going to put drum variation on, and then alter style. You don't have to, okay? Because what happens is when you change these sounds, the band changes with you, and not everybody knows that. So let's do an example here. I'm going to keep this country band on, and I'm just going to play a chord, and then I'm going to change to, I'm on the 0 position, so none of these lights are on, so or none of the numbers, I should say, 1 through 10 here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press number 1. And now listen to the background and tell me what change you hear. So here's just neutral. You hear slide guitars, fiddles. Now I'm going to go to number 1. Something changed.
Arc plus shut off.
Oh, somebody got it. Yep. Who got that? Let's see. Levon? Yeah. What it did is whenever you touch number 1, as long as your style setup button, or on this instrument, you have a button over here called vintage as well. They do the same thing. They're just different sounds, but it's the same function. But if style setup is on, which it generally is, if I go from 0 to number 1, that's exactly right. Your orchestra plus turns off. That's all those players in the background. So when we had, slide guitars, and then it goes to fiddles. If I change it to number 1, they all go away. And the same for number 2. Number 2, there's no orchestra plus. And then when you kind of go beyond that, it does some little minor changes in the background as well. Number 4, for example, what it does, if I have number 4 on, it actually turns on the drum variation as well. So what's really fun is you can actually go from number 1 to 4 throughout a song, and every time you make a change, the background changes with you. So it still changes your right hand sound, but listen to the background. If I start on 1, no background stuff. Let's go to number 2. Slightly different sound. Now number 3, a new sound. And it stuck the orchestra plus in there. 4. The ending. So what's really cool is what it did is you notice the sound changes right away. I'm sure you noticed that. The sounds... Oops. Got to put the country back on. The sound changes. That's very obvious. But when you listen closely, the background's changing too. So it's kind of making an arrangement for you. So you don't have to think, oh, I got to turn the drum variation off. I got to turn the alter style on. Because, I know most people know that they have those buttons. And I know you mostly know where they are. But the hard part is to think, okay, when do I press all these buttons? Because I want to change my sound, but I also want to change the background. These setups do both for you. And that's what it does. So 1 and 2, you can write this down. Number 1 and 2 will take off your orchestra plus. Okay, anything else, it'll be on. Number 4, that one turns on your drum variation. And actually, number 2 should do that too. Number 2 and 4 both add the drum variation on. So it kind of makes your drummer do something a little bit different. Okay? So that's just a simple way to do it. If you go from, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to give you all sorts of different background changes that are pretty cool. Because you don't have to do all the work. It changes your sound and it changes the background. It's a whole arrangement. And that's kind of what I did with that song I started with. So let's move on here. I've got another suggestion here for you, too. This is really good if you have something like a fanfare or journey as well, because I know you don't have necessarily all the touch screen stuff and alter styles, drums variations, all that. But you have this on the Inspire and on up too. But let's do what's called a pianist or guitarist rhythm. Now, let me ask you this. First of all, I know on the fanfare and journey, it's very easy. There's just a button that says full band, guitarist, and pianist. So they're right there for you. Let me ask you this. On the touch screens, does anybody know how to find those? Because you still have them. You got them on the marquees and the arias, the pianist and guitarist rhythms. How do I find those?
They're in your rhythm section.
Sure. Let me show you here. Let's look at a little closer. Let's see if you can see this. You can kind of see it, but let me try to zoom in just a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't goof anything up. I'm going to get nice and close here. Oh, goodness, you can't quite see that. I got to move my stool. There we go. So you can see the screen a little bit better there. I'll move it back in a minute, but okay, so this is the screen. I'm just on country. I'm going to go ahead and change this to, let's do something different for this example. I'm going to touch Latin. Let's do Latin. This is a good example here. Okay, so here's my page of Latin rhythms. So this is if you have a touch screen. If you are coming from a fanfare or journey, you know, some people say, oh, I'll lose all the stuff I had. I can't find it. You have the same things. This top one here, that's your full band option. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. Go back. That top one on the right, that's always going to be the full band sound. And you notice these two positions here are a little different, right, than the rest of them? This one's ebony. This first one, it's always kind of black. It's called ebony. That's what they make a piano out of. So this is always going to be your pianist position. And this one here is always your guitarist position. Hopefully, if you didn't know that, now you go home. Well, I guess you are home with some new knowledge. So it's like that for any style button over here. So if I'm on, pop, which you can barely see there, it's the same thing. The top one is the full band sound on the fanfare and journey. And then these two are the pianist and the guitarist. Now, the reason I'm bringing these up, let's go back to Latin. What's really cool about these pianist and guitarist rhythms, let me go back to here, is they're so fun to make an arrangement out of. These are the best ones to make an arrangement out of, because what happens, those rules I just gave you where it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 for different background sounds, they're a little different on these ones. Because if I start in the 0 position now, so let's say I'm going to play, let me move this camera back out of here. Hang tight just a second here. There we go. Now I can fit. Okay, so say we want to play with a guitarist. I touched the rhythm called Latin guitar. This is really cool because what it does is it takes everybody away. It takes the drummers away. It takes everybody out of there. And all it is a guitar player. So let's listen to this real quick. This is just Latin guitar. That's the introduction. So what you notice is not just a full band sound, but just a guitar player. Because, if you listen to the radio or a record anywhere, not every single song has drums and a full orchestra and saxophones and all this stuff. A lot of songs just have a guitar player and a singer, or a piano player and a singer. And what a lot of real-life arrangements do when you're listening to really any song is they like to build. So that's what we're learning today, is how to build. And this is the best way to do it sometimes, is with these particular rhythms, pianist and guitarist themed. Because if I do this Latin guitar, let's just listen to it here. I'm going to start in the 0 position and just play a little bit of a song. And then I'm going to go to a different number here. I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to do it on the fly. And listen for the background. Because what it's going to do, it's going to bring in more stuff. So here's the intro again. Just guitar. Here we go. Let's change here. Let's go to 2. Ooh, the drums came in. Let's try another one. 4. Hear that background? One more change. Here, let's do this here. Back to the guitar. Then you turn it back off, back to just the guitar player. I love to use those pianist or guitarist rhythms. Sometimes people say, well, I don't like that rhythm because I want more stuff in it. Well, that's easy. Just touch any of these other numbers and the rest of the band comes in. And let's review what I just did. When I had the 0 position, we already talked about just guitar. When I touched number 2, you get the drummer coming in. When I touch number 4, the drummer changes his attitude. He gets really into it there. And you can hear some of the background musicians change as well. So listen from number 2. And I'm going to go to number 4. Listen to the rest of the musicians, not just the drummer. Here we go. There's an electric guitar in the back too. Then I went to 10. Back to the rest of the band. So it's just so fun. That's one way. If you guys ever see us playing and you're thinking, wow, they must work so hard on this. A lot of the time we're improvising arrangements and we're using the tools that are already given to us on your instruments at home. You have all these tools. You just got to know them. That's the tough part, is you got to know them. But that's important to know, is when you go to number 4, it's not just going to change your sound. It's going to change the background. The drummer changes what he's doing, and it creates an arrangement, kind of on the fly, like I said. And obviously, if you want to, you can write these down. You say, oh, I loved that number 4. Write it down in the music. You know, when I showed the cheating heart, that's what I would do, is write down where I make those changes. But it's great to know that once you change these numbers, the band changes with you. Really cool. Any questions so far? Anything I've talked about?
Yeah, what do you mean by the 0 button? There is no 0 button on the
Yeah, that's why I didn't say 0 button, but the 0 position. What I mean by that is 1 through 10 here. You've got 1 through 8 or 1 through 10, depending on your instrument. If all of those lights are off, none of those numbers are on, you're technically in the 0 position. I would say neutral, 0. Okay? And then if I touch 1, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. But if none of those are on, that means you're in position 0. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I have a question, John.
Certainly.
I know I have the option of changing all the sounds, but if you're arranging, do you ever have the option of changing the performer?
Yes.
Like
That's
full band to pianist or...
Yeah, we like to do that too. Sometimes it's harder because you need to find something that's at least a little bit close, but you can definitely say, let's go from that Latin guitar one. if you're on a fanfare, for example, and you want to change it and bring in a full band, you have two choices. Two choices. You can either press the up arrow on the drum volume, right in the center of your instrument here, right next to the screen. On all these, you have a drum volume. You can bring that in or take it out anytime, and that's another way to build an arrangement. The other way is, like you said, you can change the performer. You can change it from guitarist. So let's go back to without the drums here. If you're on the guitarist button, sounds like this. And all you can have to do is change to full band. So it'll sound like this. Got a whole band in there. They just sound a little different. So that's a definite kind of workaround for that. But if you have the numbers, it's easy because it changes the sound on your right hand and the background. So it's just a good kind of arrangement builder. More questions? I see some other people. Yep. Go ahead.
On your screen, and the second column, the top song style. That is so that is full band.
Correct.
On each of the different screens.
Yep. Every screen you have. This is what's cool to know if you got friends with other instruments. That might have the full band pianist and guitarist buttons. This is different because it's a touch screen. So you say, well, I don't have full band. Well, these are all technically full band on here. But the top right is going to be the same as it is on, like, if you have a fanfare or journey. For example, at our store here, we're starting to do an event called Students Play for Students, where, they just come in, take turns playing. And I have some that say, oh, I'll never figure out that instrument. It's different from mine. I've got the pianist, and this doesn't have it. It's really good to know that you do have it, It's just on the screen. It's the black one. So look for the black button. And if you want guitar, look for the brown button, because it's ebony for piano and like a wood color for guitar. So, but it's going to be like that on every touch screen. So even if you have a marquee or aria, the top of the line, it's the same thing. You have a little marker kind of telling you that, oh, that's the pianist or guitarist. Okay?
Sean.
Yes, sir.
It's me, Lauren.
Okay.
All the other selections in the screen, are you going to touch those? Or just, they're mysteries to me, but you've got easy country, the train, bluegrass. Those are styles you choose for your song, right?
Yeah, those are just different rhythms, and what we're talking about is choosing one rhythm and building a song or arranging a song with just that one rhythm, but kind of when you change these buttons in the middle, the backgrounds, the band that you're playing with is going to kind of adjust to do different things for you. So when you're talking about all those other rhythm styles, yeah, you've got tons of choices, so you can use any of these, and they'll all do what I'm talking about today. Specifically those pianist and guitarist ones, those are going to be the only different ones where they're going to start out, like I said, with no band, just the guitar. Or what do you think is going to happen if I press the pianist button? Just a piano. Yeah, exactly. So then I get something like this, Let's try that one real quick. Here's the Latin piano. Makes you sound real professional. And then just the same thing. If you press a different number, band comes in. And if I touch, like I said, number 4, drummer changes.
How about if you wanted to use the society piano?
Sure. Yeah, that's just a different sound. One thing, if you have a touch screen, this is, let me let somebody's in the waiting room. One thing that's great about having the touch screen, if you have that, is it has what's called a setup information screen. Do you guys know about that? You should. This is a good one. We're getting a little more into, this is a little more into the right hand stuff. I mostly want to stick to arranging with the left hand. But what's cool is if you touch on an Inspire or Rialto, there's a number 3 button down here, all the way by the on switch. If you touch number 3, your touch screen fills up with information on exactly what's in these 10 numbers. So it says if I touch number 3, I get organ. It says it. I know it, you know. If I want piano, it's on 0 and 10. So I've got 2 different pianos. So that's just a way to kind of see what sound you want. But just know that when you change that sound, the background's going to adjust too. And that's really fun to kind of experiment with. And that's what I really encourage with this type of class, and, you know, most classes actually when people are teaching. You know, we have some teachers that say, do this, touch this button here, change it here, go to this. And that's easy because you already know what to do. But when you pull up a book of music and you want to play on your own, then you go, I don't know what to do. This is a great way to kind of explore, like I said. You're going to have some goofy sounding stuff that you don't like. And what happens if you don't like it? Don't do it, you know, find something else.
Sean,
Yes, sir.
I have the symphony. Now, this is the first time I noticed those numbers in the corner. I never even knew what they were for. So
You mean down there?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness, it's going to blow your mind. If you on yours you have to touch number 4 to get what I just talked about. Yeah. If
I
you
gotta
haven't
try that.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
And it changes your screen entirely, you said, right?
Yep, on the screen it gives you information on every single right-hand sound that's in these numbers. That way, you don't have to think, okay, what's 4, what's 5, what's 6, what's 7, and then touch all. You can just look on the screen and say, okay, on 4 that says I have a big string section, you know, touch it. And it's right
you're
there.
picking out exactly what you like in this instead of just random.
Exactly. And it's like I said, it's a good way to, you know, I don't want to say improvise like you have to improvise a whole song. Like I said, it's improvising an arrangement. So you look at what you have available sound-wise on your screen, and then you know that when you touch certain buttons, the background's going to change with it. So listen for those changes and say, ooh, I really like number 4 because number 4, like I said, it always adds drum variation. So if you don't know that, write that down. Number 4 is always going to change the drummer for you, so that you don't have to.
I'm just so glad you you mentioned that bank
Good.
of numbers down in the corner. I would have never, you know. Well, I've had a lousy habit of not really reading the manual like I should.
I never read manuals. I just
Sean,
they're not much of.
Feel so much better.
Good. They're not quite a page turner to me. I don't get, you know, sucked in like a good novel.
You start to doze, right?
Yeah. So what I do is, like I said, I like to explore. You know, listen for those differences. Say, ooh, that sounded different, and then kind of think about it. What just changed? Oh, the drummer. You know, it's you know, a great tool to just kind of use what you have, and, you know, listen for things. I'm going to do one more example because this is just really fun. And I'm going to include another button because I didn't talk about this so much. Like I said, if you change these sounds, it's going to add in members of the band. We know that now. If a couple of the numbers, like I said, 2 and 4, are going to change the drums. It's going to do the drum variation. And then another fun button to press, this one you got to reach up and press it. It's called Alter Style, and that's on the Journey. So if you have the Journey, this is great. This is a great feature. Let me show you an example how fun this can be. I'm going to do what we were talking about here, and I'm going to pull up on my screen all my different sounds to choose from. And right now on the spot, I'm going to improvise an arrangement for, let's see, what's that song called? I always forget the name. I don't know why. Just a Closer Walk with Thee. I pressed my gospel button, and I'm going to use my gospel pianist. And what that gives me is it's called a Nolans pianist. It's a New Orleans style piano player. And like I said, if I'm in that 0 position, I'm going to get just piano. So here we go. Let's change here. Drummer came in. Let's change again. Let's go to 4, 2, 3, 4. Drummer changed what he was doing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the alter style button, and you're going to hear him just go nuts in the background. Here we go. There we go. Isn't that cool? I
Right.
just improvised all of that. Like I said, I know the song. I kind of had it in my head a little bit. So if you have the music, that's fine. Use the music. But what you want to do...
I bet that would sound great with Dixieland.
Sure, that's a great rhythm for that too. That's my other choice is Dixieland. Yeah, that one just comes up pretty fast. You might have to slow it down a little.
Right.
Sean,
Yes.
alter question. I keep meaning to try this, but since I'm looking at you right now, you probably can answer my question.
I know I
love
can.
the
I feel
alter
it.
button. Can I use the alter button and fake it the same time, or the alter button and the intro button the same time? Does one
Yeah.
override the other?
Did you say drum variation in that anywhere?
No,
Or no?
alter and fake it and
Fake it,
alter
okay.
the intro button.
The alter style will not change the fake it or the introduction.
Okay.
The introduction's going to stay the same either way. You've got option 1 and 2 on some instruments if you want to change it. The other thing is if you want to, the drum variation will change the intro too. Just the drummer part of it. So if I do, let's say, I don't know, just a random one. Let's go to the one I just did since it's fresh in our minds. Go back to gospel. I'll turn on the drums here. Let's listen to the intro. There's my drummer in it. And if I do it with the drum variation, there's a ride cymbal is what it's called in there. So you can affect the intros and endings with that. You can also, if you start on, like I mentioned earlier, 1 and 2 are not going to have the orchestra plus in it. So if you do an intro or ending with that, ooh, you get all sorts of cool sounds. Like, check this, this is so fun. Check this Latin one out. Let's go to Latin. I'm going to go to Ballroom Latin is the rhythm. And if I have the 0 position on, you've got all sorts of stuff going on. Here's the introduction. There's vibes, piano, drums, bass, strings, something else in there. There's the vibes. It's just chaos. There's so much going on, which sounds great if you're going to have a really nice explosive song. But if you want less, rather than pressing a bunch of buttons, like I said, touch number 1. And watch. Now it's going to be less stuff. Just the piano. The vibes and strings, all those other guys are gone.
And it would be different with each button then.
Oh, yeah. Well, it takes in and out like I said, the orchestra plus on 1 and 2 are going to go away. So that's going to be less band members if you start with 1 or 2. If you go to either 2 or 4, it's going to have the drummer change what he's doing. If you're on an Inspire or Rialto. Like I said, fanfare or journey, you can do all sorts of different things too. You can take out the orchestra plus by pressing the button if you want to, without having to touch the numbers, things like that. Or it doesn't change the drummer, but you can take him out and put him back in anytime. But it's just really fun to make an arrangement out of it, because then when you play for family, or friends, if you play one song, we've got some students who make the mistake of playing with the same sound the whole time, like a clarinet. Listening to 5 minutes of a clarinet, it gets a little old, and your band is just doing the same thing the whole time, where it's nice to kind of say, do something a little different, guys, come on, So that's one way to do it, is build an arrangement just with these numbers. That's all I'm using this whole class. I don't want you to necessarily worry about all the other instrument buttons, just 1 through 10. And you can kind of build a background arrangement. And when you asked that question about the fake it, I'll talk a little bit about that at the very end here for my outro, actually. But none of those things will change the fake it. It's still going to do the same thing that it always does. So, all right, any more questions on this class? I hope you got a little bit something out of it, where you can feel a little bit comfortable, explore. I want you to all be explorers. Look for those patterns you'll find in those buttons and improvise an arrangement. Okay, just pick one song and try it out. That's all you got to do.
I'm just so glad I got today's class. I would have really missed out on something. Thanks a lot.
I am so glad to hear it. That means the world to me, actually.
I have one last question.
Sure.
Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, at one point, did you say that using a minor when you start a song, instead of doing the F chord, F minor? I love doing that, but am I altering the composition of the song, because I'm really not knowledgeable about that?
Yes.
Sort of thing?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Which is okay. I mean, you can do that sometimes, and it makes it
Sounds
interesting.
good.
I can tell you one thing, that this is just, I guess, a bonus tip. This is really fun. Is you can change the key of a song within a intro or ending if you want to, which means if you change the chord during it, it'll kind of change the key of it. You want to stick to, this is for the musicians here, you want to stick to the relative minor of that key. So if the song starts and ends with a C chord, and you want it to sound different and do a minor chord, don't do C minor. You want to do the relative minor of that key. So it gets a little technical there, but just know that would be A minor. So if you want to do a minor chord to start or end, do an A minor if the song is in C. If it's F, because you have a lot of songs in the key of F in these books too. If it starts and ends in F, try it with a D minor. Okay? And that's all you need. You don't need too much more. But what's kind of fun, what I like to do, here's my little bonus tip, is I like to take those intros and endings and maybe start, let's say I'm playing a song here in the key of F. I hit the ending button. It's playing an outro in the key of F. Change it to minor. That wasn't quite as smooth, but what's fun is sometimes if you get it just right, we'll end on a minor this time. Then change it. Change it to F within there, and it kind of gives you, oh, this song's actually kind of happy, isn't it?
Nice.
So that's just a fun little trick I like to throw in sometimes. All right, any more questions? Good questions, good class.
Good teacher.
Oh, he's all right. He's fine. I have a couple more things for you, so don't leave yet. So, Just a couple announcements before we adjourn. Let me pull up my screen share, and let me know if you can see that. Can you guys all nod if you can see something on the screen? Okay, this is our Patreon website here, which we talk about all the time now. I'm going to plug it just a little bit. This is awesome. I love Patreon. I use it for other things now, too. I follow other content creators, which means people who make videos or make classes, you know. There are some dance classes you can find on this website. You know, not that I want to dance. I just got to get in shape, you know, so I'm thinking about it. Anyway, you've got all sorts of things on here. On ours, if you become a patron here, you give us, you know, just a monthly contribution. It keeps our online stuff going. We're going to keep doing this and get better and better still. You'll unlock everything we do. We got all sorts of cool stuff, bonus content and bonus videos, bonus presets and setups and music, all sorts of stuff. And look at this guy making that goofy face. That's funny. But you can, this site's great because you can download stuff too, some music, the presets, and all sorts of stuff. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And just to talk about our website for a second, as Robert mentioned, this is important. On our virtual classes and events page, all the stuff we're going to do in May so far is on the calendar. So see all these dots? We got something for you almost every day of the month. Isn't that great? You can live with us here, you know. But if that's not enough, like I said, if you can't make a class, that's why it's great to have this Patreon thing, because we, you know, put all recordings of anything we do on here at the moment. So it's just a good way, kind of a backup. So if you miss the class, go to Patreon.
I was just going to ask that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then lastly, you probably got an email today or recently that has this. We've just to make it clear, this is so cool. We've only done this like once in the past, and it's just awesome. If you want to win, you know, a Lowry Royale, call the local store or call whoever you got in Fletcher Music Centers. If you're far away and not near a store, you know, you can call any of us. You know, keep in mind, we're all free. If you got an instrument from us, you are lifetime members. We are your personal assistants. So call us and ask about this. This is really cool. The drawing is coming up soon, May 5th, and the registration ends in, what, 2 days or so? So get registered for that. And finally, this has garnered some confusion from our stores out in Arizona. I think Florida kind of makes more sense. We have a corporate office and warehouse in Florida. We're not closing, guys. This is a moving sale. We are moving our corporate office and warehouse a mile down the road. And we figure, you know, let's clean up. Let's clear out some of this stuff. So that's what this is. It's in our Florida region here. So call us and see if there's anything you might want there. We got some great, great organs there that, you know, might be on the larger size. We want to kind of clear some out. So if you have something smaller and you say, you know, I want to get something a little bigger, ask about it. It's a good, good, good time for it. So anyway, I'm all done. So I'm going to do one more thing here and play a song on our way out. And I decided I kind of want to play something difficult. I'm going to play the most difficult song I know. I'm going to press all sorts of buttons to get ready for it. I'm even going to speed it up. Let's transpose it. Yeah, let's transpose it, and then let's find a good sound. And then let's take out the Orchestra Plus. I love arranging. It's so fun. You can make it sound so different. So this is the hardest song I know. This is called Take 5 by Dave Brubeck Quartet.
Oh,
I love it. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use a special feature in this song. I talked about the Fake It button. I'm going to use it on this because they added a feature on these, I think, Inspire on up. It might be on the Journey, actually. If you have a Journey, check. I think you have it. It's called Fake It Plus. I love it. Basically, what it does is instead of, you know, having to guess at what notes to hit, at what rhythm, if you hold down any black key, it's going to play a solo for you, you know. All you got to do is keep that left hand playing some chords for him to play to. So what I'm going to do is have the Paul Desmond saxophone up here. He played with Dave Brubeck, and instead of learning the whole solo by myself, because it's really difficult, I am going to bring Paul Desmond out, and he's going to play it for you. So it's great. You get to play with your favorite musician. So let's change back to this camera here, and that should work. I kind of moved it earlier, but woo, there we go. So here we go. Here's the Dave Brubeck Quartet with Take 5. There we go. Bring out Paul. Now, fake it, have him do the solo. Oh, it's so cool. It's just like the record. Keeps going. All right, here we go. Ooh, there's my drum variation. Well, that is a fun song to play, and I just love to be able to pull out Paul Desmond because it's one of my favorite solos in a song. I just love that part of the song, so I let him play the whole thing. So,
Sean, I wish I had a CD of you playing that song. I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Okay, maybe I'll make a CD. You know, I keep wanting to do something like that, and I just never get around to it.
That's one of my favorite numbers that you did. It's absolutely beautiful.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. So, I'm blushing. My face is getting red, okay?
Good.
All
right.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you turn that fake it button off?
I sure did.
Toward the end?
Yes. That's the important part, is make sure when you're done with it, turn it off. We do that all the time. We put it on and show it and say, wow, that sounds so cool. And then we start playing the melody and we're like, what? Where is it? Because we forgot to turn it off. Yeah. So whenever you're done with it, just make sure you turn it off. Yep. So that's all I got. So have a great rest of your day and see your personal assistant for any questions. If you don't have a personal assistant, get one. They're free. So keep in touch, and we'll see you next time.
Excellent.
Bye, Sean.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Of course.
Bye.
Thank you.